everybody. Welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson,
I'm Nick Kinzel.
I'm Tom Hoblin.
and we just got done with an exciting weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tom, how was your time out there, buddy? I know that was your first time going into the area. You saw a bunch of the tracks, Hall of Fame. Dude, tell us all about it, man.
Yeah, I've been planning this trip in my mind for a few years now. I just kind of wanted to go. I kept calling it my NASCAR Hajj, where I would go out to the mecca of NASCAR and kind of just putz around, see what we could see. We stuck our noses in a bunch of shops. A lot of cool shops had fan days and whatnot. And then I spent the evenings at the racetrack, and it was fantastic. Notable memories. Richard Childress walked through the fan area when I was up there, just looking out over the shop. So I got a picture with Richard Childress. We did the 2311 premiere, which is really cool, and the building's really cool. And I'd recommend just going out and visiting just to see all the design elements and whatnot. And then the Hendrick fan day, I wasn't too concerned about seeing or meeting any drivers there. And I know they had a lot of drivers out there, but walking through the museums at the shops, and then Hendrick did a really cool demonstration out in their pit stop practice area where they had two mechanics put an engine together and started up, and it ran for a minute, and you just walked up and all these parts were sitting out on a table, and then they said go, and they started the clock, and 19 minutes later there's a full-fledged V8 engine running. 19 minutes. It was very impressive. So spent way too much money, but had an incredible time. It was my Christmas present to my dad to drag him along out there with me and make him drive me around and pay for all my stuff. But it was a fantastic trip. It was a fantastic trip, and overall it was a good trip, even though we were slightly put off. I mean, a lot put off by the ending of the 600, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, definitely. Well, man, I'm glad you had a great time. All the pictures and videos you were taking and sending me, man, it looked like a great time out there.
I if you haven't gone out to Charlotte, just the fact that you can walk up to some of these shops and just kind of see the inner workings, where the sausage gets made and whatnot. Everybody's real friendly. You can stop anybody at the shops and talk to them. It's the type of trip I like to do. Just be on my own time and go out and learn some stuff, meet some people.
Definitely. Yep, that is on our list for next year. That's hopefully going to be our big race. We'll make the trip out to Charlotte. But guys, let's start off our show with our diecast of the week. And Tom, I know you got something a little different today for us.
I did. I brought something different. I finally got into the fiberglass game, if you will. So I was at the RCR shop, and I texted Ian when I saw it, and I was like, "Hey man, they have these here for this much. Should I do it?" And they had two Kyle Busch bumpers there. If I bought the FICO one from Dover, our friend Dalton would have put the wrap on that one, but I went with the Cheddar's Talladega wrap. It's got some mud on from the Talladega infield when they all wadded up at the end, a few cracks and good stories and whatnot. So my first piece of fiberglass sheet metal, if you will, and just a fun piece to finally have in my collection. So not really a diecast, but a one-to-one.
Yeah, right? Yeah, man. I'm just glad you didn't drop $5,000 like some of those people did for the freaking Larson sheet metal.
I did not pay $5,000 for that bumper. If I paid $5,000, you could shoot me right here. That would be very irresponsible.
All right, Nick. Well, what you got for your diecast of the week, buddy?
Well, I wasn't on the show last week when we were talking about the Coca-Cola 600. So I got one car in my collection, and it's minus the Chase Elliott nationwide scheme for 2014. This one holds the cake for me, and it is that beautiful Brad Keselowski patriotic car. It's just beautiful. And yeah, I wasn't on the show with you guys last week when we were talking Coke 600 week, but hey, always a good time to bust this one out.
I'm happy that car makes you happy, but beautiful is a strong word for anything that has the name Brad Keselowski on it. Sorry. I can't help myself. It is a good looking race car, objectively.
Yeah.
If I could find it's impossible to find. If I could somehow get my hands on the 2012 Blue Deuce car, I don't even know if they make those, if they ever even made those, and if they do, they're probably a ridiculous amount of money. But if I can ever track one down, that would be one that I would love to have in the collection. Because I don't know, Tom, if you knew this, but I liked Brad Keselowski back then when Trevor wasn't racing full time. I said I needed a Cup guy, and my first Cup race was Chicagoland in 2012.
Oh
And
wow.
I was drawn. My eyes were drawn to the gold chrome tires on
Yeah.
Keselowski's car, and
I
just the
love when they
team
paint the
itself.
tires. Those Justin Haley cars. I know you don't like Justin Haley, but those Justin Haley cars with it stands out a little bit. It looks nice. So
Yeah, that
again, I can see the draw to Brad Keselowski. He just had way too many run-ins with my guy for me to ever be happy with him.
But yeah, it was the tires that drew me to the car, and I was like, "There's a big old beer glass on the side of it." And if I could ever find it, I'm gonna try and get it one of these days.
Hell yeah, man. That is definitely a cool ass paint scheme. Going back to Brad's championship season. But guys, for my diecast of the week, uh, big news for Stewart Haas Racing. We will talk about it here in a second. And also, NASCAR is heading over to St. Louis, home of Anheuser-Busch. So I had to bring out Kevin Harvick's For the Farmers car that he ran last season, I believe. This was either last year or 2022. Just always got to love the For the Farmers cars. They always help out the corn farmers out there in the Midwest. And just got to love the Busch Light paint schemes.
They do a good job just activating everything and changing it up and keeping it fresh.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see what they got in store for Ross Chastain this year for his For the Farmers paint scheme. But guys, I just mentioned it. Let's get into our top story. Stewart Haas Racing just announced earlier today that they will be closing shop at the end of the season. They're going to be selling all 4 charters. We have no idea who is going to be those buyers yet, but it is for sure that Stewart Haas Racing will be closing its doors at the end of 2024. Noah Gragson, Josh Berry, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece, they got nowhere to go right now, boys.
I'm amazed. I'm honestly amazed. I mean, this story went from at the beginning of the year, they rebranded, they looked like they were rebuilding. They said they were kind of flipping the middle finger to the NASCAR community, saying like, hey, we're not done. We decided we're done. And then there were rumors, oh, they're going to downsize. Oh, they're going to do this. And then the rumors of them completely selling out turned out to be true. And it creates so many other storylines and tangents we could go down. But yeah, you're gutted not only for the drivers who are losing their rides, but that's a huge shop. Hundreds of people work for SHR, and for all those people that have to go find a new home. And obviously there's going to be a place for most of them in the sport, but it's going to be tough sledding and whatnot. And the team is kind of on the up and up performance wise. I think they're kind of having a this idea of like, well, this is our last hurrah. We're just gonna have fun with it and go out there. I'm kind of seeing that in the social media posts from Josh Berry and the 4 team and the 14 team and whatnot. But it's wild that 6 months ago they were releasing this hype video for the season, saying if you doubt us, you don't know us, and now they're selling out.
Yeah, I didn't think they were gonna completely fold like this. I was thinking like, all right, they're gonna downsize. But yeah, it's another big team that's just gone, and you hate to see it. Am I? I'm not as surprised. I mean, you can talk about the ownership all you want. Like it's been obvious. Tony Stewart has really stepped it back. It seems like each and every year for the last however many, ever since he really kind of retired, he just stepped back further and further away from the sport. And you just hate to see it. 3-time champion, and then just what they built over here at SHR, and just to see it all go away like that. But yeah, I'm not. He had his heart set elsewhere, I guess, and you hate to see it, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, pretty sad to see. I've been rooting for this team for a really long time, and Kevin Harvick won a lot of races over there, and it seemed like right when he left, everything kind of, well, everything started falling apart a few years ago, but now it's really coming true.
Yeah, I mean they had the championship winning driver retire, which was bound to happen, but to lose the sponsorship they did, honestly noble of them to keep going the way they were doing. But there's obviously, like you said, Nick, we haven't seen Tony Stewart at the racetrack in forever, and that includes the couple of Fox broadcasts that he did. Um, and Gene Haas, I don't even know if I could tell you what Gene Haas looks like.
Yeah.
So so it's just like, yeah, they've been going through some tough times, but it seems like they're on the upswing right now, which is surprising. But they like losing the Ford backing is tough. Losing the sponsors is tough, and it's hard to have a competitive race team. And we already know, like Jeff Gordon says that Hendrick loses money, Joe Gibbs loses money. They're spending $1 million a year on tires that they're not even using, all these teams. So it's when you lose that financial backing from your sponsors and from Ford, and then you just lose hope as the owners. So I understand it. It's just it's a tough decision to make because it's not just the owners wanting to back out. It's those four drivers. It's those 300 some employees that now got to go searching for a new job and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely a big decision. I'm sure it wasn't really wasn't easy to make for anyone over there, but I saw it coming. Like you guys said, Tony Stewart hasn't been at the track. Gene Haas, he's more worried about his failing at Formula One team. It's
Double DNF.
yeah, double DNF this weekend. Congrats at Monaco, Haas. And yeah, it's just really sad to see. This is Noah and Josh Berry's first season over at this team. It looks like they really found a home, and they're both running fantastic right now. And now they have to do a
Well, hey,
complete 360 and rewind, and yeah, now it's time to reset. But hey, I like this. Hopefully, Noah will at least go somewhere where the owner shows up to the shop and he gives a shit about
mhm,
the entire team as a whole, not just the money.
for sure. I mean, and that's the next step of this. You gotta speculate where these charters are going. And the new rumor is with the charter deal that NASCAR is going to offer is that they're going to cap team ownership to 3 charters. Hendrick will be grandfathered in. Joe Gibbs will be grandfathered in. You would assume that Stewart Haas would have been grandfathered in, but we have to assume that these teams that would hypothetically be looking for charters are now only going to be able to buy one. You have your Trackhouse 2311. You can throw Front Row Motorsports into the mix. Um, Colleague maybe, but again, that if you have 3 charters, you can't even take those Colleague and Trackhouse merger rumors too seriously anymore, unless that they're able to somehow get it before the deadline. So this just creates a ton of foggy skies ahead of us for where these 3 talented drivers and Ryan Preece are going to end up.
Well,
Yeah.
same thing with Cole Custer and Riley Herbst too. I mean, the SHR Xfinity program is going to fold too, so that's now 6 drivers that pretty much just said, "Oh, we are out of a job next year." It's difficult, but yeah, going back into the charter thing, you would have to think, yeah, like you said, Tom, 23-11, your Front Row and Trackhouse will be looking to get those, but that's only 3 right there. Like, it's going to be this. This really is the big dom. This was the big domino to fall, and now silly season's about to kick it up into high gear, and it's going to be exciting going forward.
Not
I
even June
like
yet, and we already got silly season, guys.
when I was at 2311, you walk up to the stairs and there's this big old catwalk that you can look down into like the final prep bay for the cup cars. And we got in there. Denny Hamlin was standing down in the center of that bottom floor, and I was up on the catwalk. And I yelled down to him. I said, Denny, please buy an SHR charter and save Kyle Busch. And he acknowledged me. He heard me. So, I mean, yeah, you know that Denny Hamlin's going to be aggressively out there looking. He was saying on his podcast that he doesn't think it's too fair if these 4-car behemoths are going to be allowed to stay and everybody else is going to be capped at 3 cars. There's no way for these other teams to get an advantage.
Right.
But we are starting to probably see some pretty competitive chess moves be made in the charter market. And also the fact that there's 4 going for sale at once, it's going to drive down those prices. You're not going to get $40 million per charter, maybe 20, maybe 30. So it's who's willing to pay, who's willing to step up. Will we see a new cup owner come in here? Will Dale Jr. get one? Does FRM
If it's
try
at those
to
prices, Dale
expand.
Jr. will do it. Yeah.
I mean, Dale Jr. still didn't like him when they were $7 million. So is
Ain't
he willing to
going
pay
down.
20, 30? Dale Jr. said he needs partners to come in with him. So
Yeah.
what kind of relationship does Dale Jr. make for this? I like the idea. So I think Eric Estep posed that FRM could buy one or two, but if it's only a 3-team cap, then they'll get one. But I would think that if FRM did that, they would also absorb the Xfinity operation and kind of build
Yeah.
out their Ford development program, a straight line from a truck to Xfinity to Cup through FRM. I think that's feasible, but that's just guessing there. And then maybe some of the SHR drivers will follow their charter wherever they go. Who knows? Maybe because again, Barry and Gregson are under contract still. So can they kind of work out a deal with like, hey man, I was going to drive this car. You bought my charter. Can I still drive for you? Maybe they can work out deals like that. But again, we just have to wait and see now. I mean, this is stunning news, even though we saw it coming. There's
Yeah.
just a lot of speculation and we won't know till we know.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we know one of the big rumors is Trackhouse wants to get that third charter for their team. And we know that, Zane Smith, he is a Trackhouse contract signed driver. So obviously they're going to go and get that third car and he's going to drive for them next year. So that leaves a Stewart Haas racing driver out of one of those rides at least. So, guys, where do we kind of see these drivers kind of moving around? Who do you think is like their best fit?
Well, that's the other thing.
Um,
If 2311 gets one of those charters, they have to bring Corey Heim into Cup.
yeah.
Corey Heim
Yeah.
is too good right now. I mean, I watched him pass 20 cars in 5 laps on the truck race.
Mhm.
Like, it was nuts. They'd be silly to lose that talent just because they don't have a Cup ride available for him. Toyota doesn't. So whether it goes to Legacy or it goes to 2311, my thought is you have these teams like Trackhouse is pulling up drivers hoping that they can buy charters to fill out 4 cars. And suddenly you're going to cap them at 3 cars. Now Trackhouse has 5 drivers under contract. How's that going to work with 3 charters? 2311 built this and invested all this money into the brand new shop to have 4 cars. Eventually, you heard Denny say it multiple times. And now he can only buy a 3rd charter and maybe have a 4th car not be chartered. Like that's tough news for him too. He invested this money in the hopes of expanding, and that's
So,
going to get blocked off too.
is it just rumors right now with just having 3
Yeah,
charters? Yeah, okay.
That's what the reporting is saying that NASCAR is bringing to the table.
Hmm.
It's a little more than a rumor, I would say,
Yeah.
but it's obviously not confirmed. And again, the teams will have to agree to it,
Yeah,
and
I don't see the
a
teams
bunch of team
agreeing
owners
to
may
it.
not like it.
Hmm.
But NASCAR's hoping again they can bring in new ownership if they can spread out the pot a little bit.
Yeah, I
And new
can see that,
manufacturers.
but I don't know. I think four charters is perfect.
I
It's how it's
think
been for a long time.
I think you got to look at Harrison Burton's seat, see that as a hot
Oh,
seat driver.
Yeah,
You got to
he's
look at
out.
Austin Cindric's seat. I understand Tim Cindric is part of that team, but Austin Cindric,
I think
not
he's
pretty sure.
grandfathered in. I
Yeah,
think he's
so
grandfathered in.
it's tough, but I don't think there's a place in the Cup Series for Ryan Preece. He's an excellent driver. He just hasn't gotten in the Cup Series, hasn't figured it out. But I still Josh Berry has shown promise. Noah Gregson has been incredible this season for what he's had, and Chase Briscoe's a proven winner. Like as
I
much as
think
we hate on Chase
that
Briscoe, but
Chase Briscoe is a perfect fit for a team like Wood Brothers if they decide to can Harrison Burton. Which I mean, Harrison Burton, he doesn't deserve that ride. We're now what is this, year 3 or year 4 full
I
time
think
Cup
it's the
racing
third
for
I
him,
one.
think it's third. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's got 5 top 10 finishes to his name. That car's just not performing. I think it's time for a fresh change. And I think Chase Briscoe would be a great fit over there. I think if Front Row gets one of those charters, I think you're looking at a guy like a Cole Custer or a Riley Herbst going over to that camp. I could see that happening. And then it's just Gregson and Barry. They deserve good seats. It's just where are these good seats going to come from? And it's
Mhm.
just that's going to be the wonder. I agree. I don't think there's really a place for Ryan Preece in the Cup Series come
Mm.
next year. He never really got dealt a fair share. I mean that 41 car has been cursed for a long time, but he hasn't produced, and it might just be time to move on. I can see him being an Xfinity lifer. Harrison Burton won't have a cup ride next year. He'll be going back down, even if he can find something. But yeah, the big question out of this is just going to be Gregson and Barry. Where do we land? Does Dale buy a charter and bring one of them along with him? It's just
if Dale gets a charter, you'd think he'd go with Barry.
Yeah, that would be
He's been
guess.
singing Barry's praises,
Yeah.
and he'd probably get the Hendrick support. Hendrick would build those cars, but it's just tough because again, there's not only these 4 drivers in seats right now that need to find a spot. There are strong prospects that also need rides. Colleague did not bring, and Trackhouse did not bring Shane Van Gisbergen down here to run Xfinity. Like,
No.
they want to get him to Cup eventually. He's a threat on the road courses with this style of car and what these cars can do, which means he can get into the playoffs, and even around a 16 berth pays money versus running 26th in points. So there's so many drivers right now, and it just kind of depends on where these charters go before you can even start putting drivers in seats.
Right.
Yeah. And I think Noah will be fine finding a good team. Really attractive guy in the Cup Series. He can
He's
bring
got
in
money.
so
He
many
brings sponsors.
money, sponsors, very likable, one of the most popular guys, 2 years voted into the All-Star race. Yeah, he's gonna have no issue. Honestly, people have been saying it for a while, and this looks like this could be a year to kick the guy out of the 48. Hasn't been performing the past 2 seasons.
He's been there 7 years.
Yeah, that's crazy that he's been there
7
that
years.
long already. That's when he started taking over for Dale Jr. when he was dealing with his concussion issues and everything. And yeah, I think it's time. The kid has not performed well in that car. He's good for maybe 1-2 wins a year, and he hasn't even done that the past 2 seasons. Granted, yeah, he was injured last season. But I mean, so was Kyle Busch in 2015. The dude fucking popped off and then won the championship. So Alex Bowman is just not that guy. He is not equipped to run in that 48 right now. I want to see Noah Gragson in there. He is a guy that can put that thing in victory lane.
Yeah, that's a tough one too. Because I mean, Hendrick went through a whole rebuild, and they were bad for a couple of years because they just had all these young guys and they're developing, and it's hard to be the 4th wheel at a place like Hendrick Motors. You're still performing really well, but when your teammates are still finishing ahead of you and when you're popping off top 10s, it's tough. And you want to be able to step up to the plate as a Hendrick driver, and Bowman's just not quite doing it. Bowman belongs in the Cup Series, but does Bowman belong at Hendrick?
No.
Absolutely not. The only problem is that Bowman has got Ally on his side. Ally really likes Alex Bowman, and so I think that's what's saving his ass right now.
We know these car owners like the sponsorship money, and they'll bend over a little bit more for a not as good of a guy who has the sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just crazy. You got 3 of your teammates that are just championship caliber drivers. Every single season, they're a threat to go deep into the playoffs. And then here's Alex Bowman on a little tricycle trying to catch up with these guys. So I don't know, man. I've had it with this guy. Disgrace to the number 48, doing Jimmy Johnson a disservice. I mean, Jimmy Johnson's also doing himself a disservice with coming out here wrecking every week, but that's another story.
Hold on. This started as, wow, SHR is closing. What are we going to do? And this is
shit about Jimmy Johnson.
This is what these 4 charters being suddenly available is doing. It's making you just go down these tangents. It's like, man, who will get these 4 charters? Does Alex Bowman really deserve a Cup ride? Or does he deserve to be like? It's crazy, and we're not going to know till we know. Does RFK get a charter and move Justin Haley into an RFK car? Do we see? I don't know. I guess the 99's already taken. Do we see the 60 come back full time, like it, or the 16 or something? I don't know. I guess that's a colleague one too. My mind is blown right now, and all you could do is speculate.
Man, I love silly season. Just Gets the
And this
juices
is the
flowing.
silliest of seasons. I mean,
Yeah.
you could see one of the SHR cars, one of the SHR guys go into the 34.
Yeah.
That's open. It's the premier Ford team now.
Well, that's yeah.
It's very
Absolutely.
true.
So the 34 is open. You could see Gregson and Loves, or Briscoe could go to the 34.
Briscoe would
Barry
actually I could definitely
Barry
see him
might fit in
fitting
the 34.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely.
Where does Rodney Childers go? He's going to be a hot commodity.
Fuck, I didn't even. Yeah, that's one thing I didn't even think about is where is all these crew chiefs going to go? Especially
Mhm.
Rodney Childers, one of the best crew chiefs in town. I feel like he's got to follow his driver Josh Berry.
They have
I
championship winning blood
Yep.
at Stewart Haas Racing. It goes back. I mean, they started 2009, and Stewart won a championship. Harvick won a championship. There's guys that have been there since the beginning. There's people there that know how to build cars and win championships. All these people are going to be finding jobs, and it's just going to change a whole lot.
Yeah, definitely going to change the dynamic throughout all the teams in NASCAR. This might give a boost to some teams that have just like been needing a kick in the ass for a little bit. Like, you know, Penske's won the last 2 championships, but they're not completely consistent throughout the
Right.
entire season. Like you look at Joey Logano and Austin Cindric, they could use a little bit of extra money to get a
I
little
was
kick in the
sitting with
ass.
a Joey Logano fan at the track, and he was like, "Man, what happened to Joey Logano?" And I was like, "Man, what happened to Kyle Busch?" Like, it's what happened to Joey Logano. Like, he doesn't perform consistently anymore.
No.
Not to say that Joey Logano's on the hot seat. I think
No,
Joey
no.
Logano and Penske is a great fit for life, frankly. But it's just all these questions are opened up. So I get, yeah, maybe you could see Ford's going to want to hang on to some of these drivers. Ford's going to want to hang on to Briscoe and Gregson if they can, maybe Barry. So again, somebody goes to the 34 car, somebody goes to a RFK could get one. FRM.
One of them's going to wind up. One of them's winding up in that 21 car for sure. That is.
Yeah.
One of them. Wind up there.
When you have, I might even take Ryan Preece over Harrison Burton in that car.
Yeah.
If those other guys those other guys might get multiple offers, and if they don't choose the Wood Brothers and Penske, then Ryan Preece might even end up in the 21. But I don't think Harrison Burton is what it is right now. He may need to go the way of John Hunter Nemechek and restart.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, man. All right, guys. Well, let's get into this Charlotte weekend that kicked off with the Truck Series, and we had Tanner Gray winning the pole. This guy and his brother, they have been on a tear lately with these Tricon trucks. Good to see. Corey Heim, speaking of Tricon, he swept the first 2 stages. This kid is just absolutely unbelievable. And then we had a big wreck for Mr. Tyler Ankrum and Thad Moffitt. The bad season continues for Tyler Ankrum in that 18 truck.
He started so strong. I mean, he was leading the points for like the first 6 races, and he's just dropped.
Yep.
He's down to 7th in points. He lost another spot here.
And
sometimes races. It's not his fault.
Just
getting run over.
Can't finish races, and I just still think back to the Texas race weekend. That is the weekend that could have been for him until he junked his stuff, had to start in the back, and got wrecked.
Yep. Really unfortunate for Mr. Ankrum. And we had another caution come out for Matt Crafton, just pretty much running out of talent. I mean, that's what Matt Crafton seems to do lately. Hit the wall and ended his day early.
It's just tough. I don't think it's a Matt Crafton problem as much as it's a ThorSport problem. They're just not performing like they have in the past.
Yeah, Crafton, he's been on the decline ever since he won that championship, that the season where he didn't even win a single fucking race.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Just been on decline. He's getting older. He's been in the series for a long time, and the young guys are just outshining him at this point. And speaking of the young guys, Nick Sanchez, and yeah, he had a dust up with Matt Crafton too last year in Talladega. Nick Sanchez took the lead with 8 to go, and he held off Corey Heim to get career win number 2. Nick, we were there for his first win at Daytona, so pretty huge for him to get this second one here at Charlotte, NASCAR's home.
He's showing up this year. getting those first 2 wins in the bag. He's looking like he's going to be a good prospect going forward here. And then, yep, Corey Haim, he was up there again. He was just doing what we thought he would do. Yeah, he got disqualified afterwards, but that wasn't on his doing. That was his crew. That was his pick crew's fault. But yeah, those 2 guys are fast, and yeah, good for Sanchez. He's really showing up this year.
I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I think in NASCAR is kind of an underrated skill, is the ability to finish races. You see these people have such strong runnings and whatnot. And this isn't a slight on Corey Haim, but Nick Sanchez, again, when it mattered most, he was able to keep the dominant truck of the race, the fastest truck of the race, behind him. I guess he ultimately didn't need to keep him behind him, but it's better that to get the win instead of get handed the win.
Right.
And Nick Sanchez definitely went out and stole this win, but again, he was able to finish the race when it mattered.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his crew chief, Showalter, on his birthday, this was the 700th truck race in history, and this Chris Showalter has been a part of every one of them in some capacity. So special night for him on his birthday, on his 700th truck event to get the win. Very special. It's kind of a storybook night for Chris Showalter.
Yeah, absolutely. That is awesome. So congrats to Nick Sanchez and the entire 2-truck team. Let's move over to Saturday with the Xfinity Series. We had Ty Gibbs winning the pole, and Riley Herbst, man, oh man, he tried the slide job in front of AJ Allmendinger. Did not work out. Got a little loose, and you can tell that 16 just did not lift and just spun out the 98, ending his day early. Riley Herbst was pissed off, and
oh my god, Riley Herbst comparing himself to what happens later to Cole Custer is the funniest thing, because he's like, these are the same thing, and no, they were not the same thing. No, not at all.
And poor AJ Allmendinger, that guy does not look like he's having any fun this year. College as a whole, even their Xfinity program with AJ, they're just not there. He is not running where I thought he would have ran since making his return back to the Xfinity Series, where he was so good. They're just, college as a whole, they're just missing. They're missing pieces in every team and every series, Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. They're just missing everything.
I mean, it shows you what a driver Allmendinger really is, though, because I mean, all race, the radio broadcast is talking about how, and I was listening to it in the scanners, about how he's holding his breath going in the corners, and he's got to turn right through the corners multiple times because he just can't drive the car. He's backing it way up because he's just not in control. Finished this race with a top 5.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Like, Allmendinger is so good at what he does. And just, I know he wins races, and I know we love Allmendinger, and there's nothing really that people get mad at him about. But like, I still think he's a little underappreciated for what he is and whatnot. And really, he is carrying that colleague team.
For real.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to colleague, though, because they gave me a free Celsius at their shop.
So, oh yeah.
So it's home to build faster race cars.
Well, maybe if they weren't spending so much money on free Celsius, they could put some of that money into their cars.
Right. Yeah, we saw a few years ago Allmendinger's first stint with that Xfinity team over at Colleague, man. They were just lights out. He was in contention to win almost every single race, and now he's struggling to get a top 5.
Yeah.
Really sad to see. But
I mean, that was a top 15 car, and he wheels it to a top 5. Like, unprecedented.
Impressive.
Fantastic.
The guy is good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and we had Justin Allgaier sweeping the first 2 stages. He loves Charlotte Motor Speedway, won there last season, but he got caught speeding on pit road, sent to the back. But man, guys, this race just produced nonstop battles. Just amazing all around. Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs going at it for the lead. Saw a bunch of 3-wide, 4-wide racing on this track. It's Charlotte Motor Speedway and these Xfinity Series cars. It's just chef's kiss.
It was really fun to watch. I mean, there was differing tire strategy. You'd see guys go up there and fight on older tires, and some of them could hang on and some of them couldn't. And just battle everywhere you looked. There's at least a car side by side with somebody. Sometimes, like you said, sometimes they were 3-wide. Hard to follow, but for a good reason. You're just looking everywhere around. So, yeah.
Yeah, gotta love it. And then the fun begins for Austin Hill. Him and Sammy Smith get into it on the track. Austin Hill's telling him that he's number one the whole time. They're a little bumping and banging. But yeah, that's Austin Hill. Justin Allgaier unfortunately does not clear himself over the 20 of Ty Gibbs
Oh.
and wrecks himself into the front straightaway wall. That's a real rookie move by a veteran right there.
Did it make the broadcast that he said it was he like completely owned up to it? It was
Either
on the
that or I
radio.
saw it on Twitter.
It was on the radio broadcast where I heard it, but they interviewed him. The radio folks interviewed him at the track, and he was just like, "Yeah, man, that's on me." Like it was completely a spotter miscommunication. He said I wasn't clear. I thought he said I was clear. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but I hope that made the Fox broadcast and whatnot, because just the nature of the incident and who also got caught up in that incident was probably going to cause some fracas. But Ty Gibbs really didn't do anything wrong. He was racing for the lead, and Allgaier just wasn't clear.
Yep.
And honestly, Ty Gibbs was also a victim of that too. So
yeah.
Sucks for Allgaier, man. That was top 5 points racing for a win right there down the drain.
Yeah, you talk about the ability to finish races, and for whatever reason, the 7 car can't seem to do it. Whether it's his fault or not his fault.
Yep.
Just can't seem to put it together at the end.
It's the theme of the season for old Gator. But guys, then this leads up to the Austin Hill Cole Custer incident. The one everybody was talking about on Saturday night. Cole Custer gets put into the wall by the 21 of Austin Hill. So what does Cole Custer do? He shows him a little displeasure, doors him a little bit. And this cut the tire of the 21. 21 racing side by side with him, and he cuts his tire, slams into the 00, and then Austin Hill decides that he is going to commit murder on Cole Custer and just drive on his ass and spin him out and put him into the wall under caution. We've seen this happen before.
The caution wasn't out yet. Hold on.
No, it was about to come out. But
it was about to come out, and then when he spun, I was watching them. They were connected, but the track was still green. The lights didn't come until Cole Custer started spinning off the front. Honestly, when I saw it live, I thought Cole Custer or Austin Hill was waiting for the rest of the field to pass them before spinning him out.
No, he decided that he was going to do it in front of everybody.
Yeah, he let most of the field by.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no,
probably the guys.
Yeah, I want to dispute that it wasn't under caution. And again, obviously, I'm watching live at the track. It's kind of hard to tell the precise moment, but I'm almost certain that the caution wasn't quite out yet.
Okay, I'll have to look back at it, but from what everybody was saying on Twitter, that spin happened under caution, but I'll have to look back at the replay.
I think the spin was the cause for the caution.
It was but just regardless, as it was coming out. Yeah, it's still
not
an idiotic move.
Yeah, not a good look.
Not a good look. It just kind of reminded me. It was no different than really when Johnny Sauter took out Austin Hill at Iowa, and Johnny Sauter got handed a race suspension. So what warrants it? I don't know how this wouldn't warrant it. Now, are they going to do it? Who knows? They could just. I don't know what's going to happen. Does he deserve it? I think he does. Sit his ass. He's just been. He's been crazy. He's been crazy. Ever really since
him and Sheldon Creed first started getting into it.
Yeah, really, he's been crazy since then, and now he just thinks he doesn't know how to pass anybody clean on the racetrack, and he is a big hypocrite. He doesn't like being raced hard. That's just what it is. He doesn't like being raced hard, and he's a little whiny little bitch about it.
Well,
spend his ass, park him.
And you wonder how incidents like this, and we'll say incidents because we've seen this a few times from Austin Hill now. You wonder how it's affecting his future. You wonder why he's not signing these cup contracts, because he's got the skill. He's out there. But like you have the Carson Hocevar example where he goes, Dale Jr. sits him down and says, "Hey man, when are you gonna stop wrecking race cars?" Like as an owner, the owners don't like this. It's one thing, yeah, you cut your tire, it sucks. But you did a lot more damage to both cars by then continue to drive through them. And that's the suspend him or not. I frankly don't care. Austin Hill does not affect my day-to-day life, and he does not. If he wanted to live in my head, he'd have to pay rent. But the fact that he's now doing this multiple times and it's proven and it's starting to get him a reputation, and these car owners and these mechanics and these crews know a lot more than I do about the sport, and they're not going to want to work on an Austin Hill Cup car that's coming back wrecked every week.
Yep.
The team owners aren't going to want to pay for that.
Yeah.
So he's only hurting himself. He's only hurting himself.
And he's just got, sorry, Tom, but he's just got that Kyle Busch mentality. He's like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. It's his fault. You know, it's everybody's fault in his own head. He's got
face.
Yeah, he really does. But unfortunately, he's a freaking big dude, and he'll take you
He's a
out.
big boy.
Yeah. We saw what he did to Myatt Snyder a few years ago.
I'm just waiting on it. Somebody's got to have the balls to go up there and just whoop his ass. Put
little Brandon Jones up to him or something.
Here's the thing is though, like, I don't see a couple times in the Cup Series last year. I'm pretty sure we saw Kyle Larson and Chastain at Darlington. Larson had Chastain basically T-boned after a wreck and was just continuing to push him down the back straightaway. And I'm pretty sure we saw somebody do it at Dover too last year. I can't remember which two were involved, but this kind of reminded me of a situation like that, where it's just like Austin was showing his displeasure and wasn't letting the guy go. And it's when Cole Custer compares it to the Kyle Busch Ron Hornaday truck incident in Texas, I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's fair. Just as a outside observer here, it's the Kyle Busch was egregious. It was under caution. It was a right rear at speed. These cars were limping along already, and he gave him a soft spit. Yeah, he still gave him a headache going head first into the wall, but that's a track issue more than anything. I don't know if it deserves a suspension, maybe a points penalty though. I could see a points penalty.
For my reasoning for the suspension, the car's already wrecked. Don't need to do anything anymore. And then you spin this guy and put him in the wall. And we know that we've seen concussions the past few seasons. And that was a pretty hard lick for Cole Custer. And the fact that you have traffic coming your way right now, you could have put all those guys in risk as well. Could have ruined their day.
Yeah. I mean, that's Gregson at Road America. He spun that guy in front of all the traffic.
Yeah. No,
most of the traffic was clear, but not all of it, which is, you're right. That is a dangerous situation.
When people were calling for Noah's head, I was like, if they have to suspend him, then suspend him.
From a safety standpoint, I could see a one race suspension fit this bill, but I'm not saying it has to be a suspension. A points penalty could send a similar message.
Yeah. I think, I don't know.
He's the points leader. They could send him down right now and make him not the points leader.
Yeah, well, I think a big points. I think taking away points would be just suspending him. Make sure you got to set a precedent. You can't let this guy get away with it all the time and be a jackass.
I do think it needs to be one or the other. They can't suspend him and give him a points penalty. I think that's a double whammy.
Oh, that'd be Christmas Day for me right there.
Yeah, so there's our opinion on Austin Hill. I guess we'll see. They said it would either be today or tomorrow, so I guess we'll see for Wednesday, probably by the time this show is out. So once again, some news that we're going to be late on, but
leave a comment on how wrong we are.
Yeah, right. All right, guys. So moving on, Chase Elliott, he kind of came out of nowhere in these final restarts, and he was able to get that win. First Xfinity Series win for him since Daytona 2016. So pretty huge for him, I guess.
I felt like I was back at the Texas Cup race, which I was also there in person. I was just like so dejected because Kyle was up there. He was fighting for the lead the whole time, and he finishes sixth, and Chase Elliott wins. I was like, what is happening? Chase Elliott was so bad. He was one of those guys I was talking about earlier who would like try to gain some track position and restart and then just get passed and sent way back down to the tail end of the lead lap again. The car was bad. It was awful. I don't know where they pulled that out of their ass to let that car win. And honestly, I'm sorry to the Chase fans that were sitting next to me all weekend because I was just a sore loser there. I was really hoping to see some Kyle Busch Xfinity magic, but on top of that, to see Chase freaking Elliott come out of nowhere and win the race for no good reason was just so incredibly frustrating to me. And I left that afternoon just so sore. And I was like, why? This is stupid. And we keep seeing Chase Elliott wins.
I was just getting ready to say, like, yeah, I was getting ready to say during that race, like midway point, I was like, what the fuck is Chase Elliott doing? The 17 Xfinity car has not looked good in any of the races that it's really been in this year. Chase started 30th, and yeah, he just looked like shit all day, and then there he goes at the end. Oh, I'm gonna go fucking win this thing now. Yeah,
Ugh.
gross.
Yeah. So,
But good
yep.
for him, I guess. Cool.
Yeah, 17 somehow pulls it out of his ass and gets the win. So let's move over to Sunday, guys. And Kyle Larson, man, oh man, I feel bad for him. He wanted to try and attempt this double, but rain was in the forecast for Indy, delayed this race a few hours. And
What are your thoughts of him choosing Indy
I think
over
that
NASCAR?
I think he had to choose Indy over NASCAR. You think about this. This guy was at the Indy 500 over a year ago. That's when he started putting in his work for this race. You can't give up an entire year of practice, simulators, just getting your head ready for this race and just be like, nah, you know what? I got to get out of this thing. I can't do it. I got to go run my cup car. No, man. This is the biggest race in the world. All eyes are on you. You gotta go run this thing, man. Like they're can't just give it up just like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that Rick Hendrick and Jeff Gordon knew what they knew he's gonna get a waiver. We can talk about the waiver here if we really want to. He's gonna get the waiver. I don't think that they would have left him out there if they weren't gonna get the waiver. But yeah, I think he made the right decision staying in Indy. He put all that work, all that effort in, and it was once in a lifetime opportunity. Hopefully he gets to do it again next year and actually gets to do it in its entirety. It sucks with the weather. But I could also see them going the other route and not granting him a waiver because he chose to run in a competitor's series, and this is one of NASCAR's crown jewel races, and he didn't start the race. I just think waivers in general are stupid. The only reason you should get a waiver is for medical reasons. Like if you're coming back from injury or something like that. Suspended drivers don't deserve waivers, and I'm just on the fence with this one with Larson. He's gonna get it in the end, but I don't see why he should. So that's where I am. He chose IndyCar over his job, so I don't know. That's where I am with it. But he's gonna get it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have left him out there.
I agree with you guys. I think it was the right call to choose the Indy 500. I mean, the reason the Coke 600 is a crown jewel is because they were trying to one up the Indy 500 because it was so prestigious. How do you make a race that's bigger and better and more prestigious than the 500? You go longer. You go 600. So, the waiver discussion is really interesting to me because you obviously with the format is I could come in, I could show up, run the Daytona 500, win it, and then take the next 25 races off, show up for the first round of the playoffs, especially now they took the 30th in points thing away.
Mm-hmm.
Then without the waiver, you could show up for the first round of playoffs, win the first race, and just basically win the 5 races that you run. If you had NOS or rockets in your car or something. Like obviously a lot harder to do that in NASCAR than this. So it's hypothetical. But the fact that like you're choosing to lose points should be enough deterrence because we see people lose out round to round in the playoffs because they're short 1 or 2 points. I mean, Kyle Larson knew that this race was worth more points than normal, and he still chose to run Indy, which again shows you the prestige of Indy. And then it's also Indianapolis. Like the waiver system is kind of meant there to be like if Kyle Larson, there was a big dirt event, or maybe, I don't know, somebody said it's not like Kyle Larson was going to run a Tuesday night dirt event that paid $1,000 to the winner. Like he's going to run the Indy 500. We saw that Newgarden won $4 point something million for this race. It's bigger. It's just bigger. And then the waiver rule says, unless otherwise approved by NASCAR, they posted "Good luck, Kyle" on their page.
Yeah.
Do you think NASCAR doesn't love that Kyle's doing this? Like, if they don't grant him a waiver, I'm gonna be so confused. But I guess it won't be the first decision about this weekend that I was confused about by NASCAR making. So, or in the history, I mean, NASCAR makes some pretty baffling decisions. But again, if you can give Chase Elliott a waiver for literally wrecking somebody else at this race and then missing. Like I don't see why Kyle Larson running Indy does more good for NASCAR. He already lost lots of points. He lost the points lead
Yeah.
because of this. That's penalty enough. Don't make him ineligible for the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's just silly, and that's hurting your product versus helping it.
Yeah. My take is I am a big Kyle Larson hater when it comes to him in NASCAR. Do not like the guy whatsoever, but I was rooting for him on Sunday to win that Indy 500. And I really do think he should be granted the waiver. Like you said, Tom, this isn't just some bumblefuck dirt race that he's entered into. This is the Indy 500.
And he had every intention of going to the 600. The schedule works out. We've seen it done in the past. It's not like he's the first person to try something like this. Like, he had the intention, and weather messed it up. Like,
weather completely messed it up. He was at the track.
It's not like he was like, "Hey, NASCAR, I'm gonna go run Indy. Fuck you." Like, no, he tried to get there. He was there. He showed up at the track,
and then
the NASCAR gave up on the race.
Yep, and then the rain came. Well, yeah, Kyle Larson, he tried everything he could to be in this race, but Mother Nature did not let him, and I think that's why he should be granted a waiver. It's not
frankly,
like
we riot if they don't give him a waiver.
Yeah.
Or don't approve the waiver.
It's really like, yeah, if this race was going to be taking place right when the Coke 600 starts, like if that's when it was scheduled, yeah, sure. But if he had a timetable to make it back for this race and he was determined and he made it all the way over there just for absolutely nothing, gotta give it to him, especially they fucked him out like this. I would think if he stepped in there for the rest of 150 laps that were left, they would have given him the waiver 100%. But now that he hasn't even stepped in the car, now it's come into question.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I still think that Jeff Gordon, they would have got him on a plane if they knew they weren't getting this waiver. He's gonna get it, but I could just see it going both. I see sides for both of it. This is for the bad look on the NASCAR side. This is your points leader. This is a crown jewel race, and he chose to go do that instead. So I don't know. It can go both ways. But I was like with Ian though. I hate Kyle Larson. I was rooting for him to win the Indy 500 on Sunday, but it could just go either way at this point. But at the end of the day, I really think he'll get it. But I see sides for both of it.
Yeah, Tom, and you said it perfectly. He paid the price already for completely missing this race and not getting any points. I think that should be his penalty.
That is the penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we saw Jimmy Johnson lose out in that first Roval race. We saw Jimmy Johnson lose out advancing a couple rounds because he was a couple points short. I mean, he dropped 2 spots in the standings. Like, that's significant. That is significant. And it would just be silly of NASCAR. Could you imagine NASCAR being so petty to be like, you know what? No, you went and ran a race that's been prestigiously bigger than us since before we existed. So you can't run for our championship. Like, it's asinine if you think about it. And I think it's frankly silly that the discussion is even happening. I understand that the discussion has to happen, but anybody saying seriously that he should not be granted the waiver is more like one of those F1 fans that won't even bother to give another motorsport a chance just because they think F1's the pinnacle and they don't need to watch anything else. It's like, you're only hurting yourself. You're only hurting your product if you don't grant him this waiver. And I think we need to appreciate racing more as a whole for this. And something you have to step down when some things are bigger than you, like the Indy 500 NASCAR is so much bigger than IndyCar, except for one day a year.
Yep.
And it's damn close on that one day a year because the Coke 600 is still very prestigious. But they've been running the Indy 500 for 100 and some years now. Like, it'd be silly not to get him this waiver. And I can't believe there's actually people saying that he doesn't deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah. Even some of the top people that work in the media are saying that.
Do you think Jordan Bianchi actually believes Dave Moody, Jordan Bianchi? Do you think they actually, like, Jordan Bianchi, I think, was trying to play devil's advocate on the teardown, but there is a hint of like truth coming out in him. I don't know if he actually believes that, but
I feel like they do, especially Dave Moody. Well, he always has some of the worst opinions in NASCAR anyway. But Jordan, I don't know, because sometimes I feel like he likes to reach just to get some clicks.
Oh yeah,
But
Jordan is a clickbaiter.
yeah, I don't know if Jordan was real about it, but definitely Dave
Hmm.
Moody, man, that guy.
I think I will, if there's ever a Jeff Gluck versus Jordan Bianchi fight, I think I will always be on the side of Jeff Gluck
Oh yeah,
every time.
gotta love me some Gluck, man.
Hmm.
All right, guys. So Kyle Larson, he did finish 18th in the Indy 500. He was the rookie of the race, so he got a big bonus for that race as well. Joseph Newgarden, 2 years in a row for Indy 500. Cool to see for the Nashville-born driver. But let's get.
Incredible move around the outside.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Even though we don't
The
talk
guts on
IndyCar,
that.
amazing
The
move
guts on
against
that.
Pato O'Ward.
Hmm.
That was
Mm.
amazing. Got to feel it for Pato O'Ward though. He's been trying to win this thing for a while, but
Poor
Joseph
guy.
Newgarden, he's just too good. He beat the cheating allegations, and now he's a winner again.
I mean, you got to feel it for Pato Award. He only won $1 million for finishing second. Oh
Yeah,
no.
right. Oh no.
Oh.
But guys, let's get back into the 600. William Byron, he won stage one, and Ryan Blaney, ooh, rough race. Had a tire go down, smacked the wall hard. Day ending early. Sucks to see for the defending race winner for the Coke 600.
Yeah, highest of highs last year in this race, the lowest of lows in this race this year. That's what we see, and then just goes to show that Penske boys, man, the consistency just ain't there.
And
Yeah.
then throwing the caution for the car sitting on pit road just messes everything up. It sucks. They tried. He smacked the wall too. I don't know if that made the broadcast,
Oh
but I
yeah.
watched him come around. He smacked the wall before he got on the pit lane.
And he was just
That's a
stuck on
tough
pit
hit.
road.
Yeah, and he just got stuck. They tried to push the car and it went out in the middle of pit road, and yeah, that was
Uh,
tough. It was tough to watch. You hate it
yeah,
for him.
real rough. But the chaos doesn't stop there. We had the 10 car of Noah Gregson. He made contact with the 47. Now, Fox did not give us a good angle whatsoever. All we saw were the ghost
The
cars or
ghost
whatever the
cars,
hell.
yeah, there was
Yeah,
no angle. It was
we
the ghost
saw
car. That
that,
was
and then we
it.
saw Noah's onboard, and
They
you
put
could
the
not.
ghost cars in the race.
Yeah, and you could not tell if it was Noah that came up or if it was Stenhouse that came down when they came out of
Well,
two.
yeah, didn't one of the ghost cars drive through the wall in qualifying?
Yeah.
They just kept going straight.
Yeah.
Like, of course you didn't see who came down into who. Those things are so inaccurate. They'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
look, he won the pole," and then he's like, "Oh, he's a second and a half behind. Never mind."
So typical Fox, they couldn't give us an angle
Ugh.
on what actually
Not
happened.
one view. We had the fucking
Granted, I
ghost
mean,
cars.
hey, we got the same cameras at the track, so we didn't see a great replay. All I know is he hit the inside wall, and that car
Yeah.
looked a little messed up, a lot
Yeah.
messed up.
His day was done early. Harrison Burton's day done early after he
Scheduled
spins
tweet.
in turn two. Yep, scheduled tweet
Scheduled
right
tweet.
there. Um, William Byron, holy shit, makes a pass in the grass going three wide with Reddick and Ty
It was
Gibbs.
right in front of me. It was
Yeah.
right in front of me. Tyler Reddick came through the lap before he went through. I was like, "Dad, he went through the grass. That's wild." And then the next lap, I was like, "Oh my god!" It was insane.
Yeah.
Pass in the grass. Dale Earnhardt wasn't even a pass. This was the pass in the grass. This was
Yes,
fantastic. Track limits who?
it was. You gotta love it. That was so damn cool. And then finally, Kyle Larson makes it to the Coke 600. Helicopter lands, and then here
Yeah.
comes the rain. Doesn't even get to step in the car. NASCAR keeps
Uh,
us waiting for hours and hours and hours, only to tell us that the track is too humid to keep drying. And Joe
But it
Gibbs
was
was told 15 minutes to their cars,
you
and
had
NASCAR
drivers.
calls it.
You had drivers drinking coffee. Listen, so I've been unfortunately in a few rain delays. My dad thinks he's cursed, by the way. So send some sympathy to my dad in the comments as well. I mean, again, like the last race he attended was Chicago Street Race. And it's been a theme for all our lives. If we ever went camping as a family, like it would always rain. Like it's tough, and I feel for him. But again, so I've been in a few of these rain delay situations. I always like to tune into the NASCAR radio to see if I can hear what's going on and whatnot. And when the rain stopped, it didn't rain that much. We stayed in the grandstands the whole time. We had an awning, but it maybe rained hard for 5 of the 25 minutes it was coming down. And then as soon as it started lightening up, I heard on the radio they were firing up the Titans, firing up the blowers. They did one pass of pit road backwards. They came back around the front stretch, did another pass of pit road, came back around the front stretch. They did pit road a third time, came around the front stretch, and then continued on the track. And we were about, by the time they did the third pass on pit road, we're about an hour and a half. I'd started a stopwatch when the red flag happened. We were about an hour and a half into it, and it was taking them maybe 20 minutes to go a lap around the track. And as soon as they're coming off of turn 4, I hear on the NASCAR radio, and it's like, so it looks like we wouldn't be able to get started till 1, so 20 to the victory lane. And I broke it to the whole section. I was like, they just called the race. And when I tell you, all these people, like, the seats were packed around me. I mean, we had 10 rows maybe under this awning. Nobody left. We were all especially when the jet dryers came out. I mean, we saw the radar. It looked like the rain was forecasted around that time all day. Like, we knew it was coming. We knew it was a short rainstorm, and a short rainstorm, sure, maybe a lot came down, but it's dryable. And the dryers came out, and everybody just kind of expected the track to dry, and then they call the drivers to the cars and go. And we were all absolutely dumbfounded, gutted, heartbroken. I mean, again, we paid for a 600-mile race, got 379 miles. It was gut-wrenching, honestly. And to the people that say, and I apologize if I'm ranting a little bit, but the people that say, oh, just go again next year, just go again. Do you think I'm driving hundreds of miles just because I can do this every single year? No, I want to see this race. And most of the people got to the track at 1, 2 o'clock. Like, they understand that this is a long race. They're in it for the long haul. Most of the grandstands were coming back out after the rain stopped to sit in their seats. People were ready for this night to be long. So what happened? They were drying the track. We saw pictures a half hour after they called the race that the track was dry. What happens? It's a long race. It's 600 miles. Don't cut it off. It's absolutely insane. And it was just poor decision making, poor communication from NASCAR, and it was just gut wrenching to be sitting at the stands and hear that they called the race. I'm happy for Christopher Bell. I'm happy for my Toyota drivers, but just such unfortunate and such an unfortunate time. And just my heart was broken leaving. And the trip was great and all. We had a lot of fun. We saw a lot of cool stuff, but for it to end on a sour note like that was just awful. Just awful.
Their whole reasoning behind it was just, we're not going to get going until 1 a.m. again. So what? Like, Southern 500 a couple years ago where Eric Jones won. That race ended at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
It's prime time on the West Coast.
Yeah. Like 2015 when Austin Dillon got sent into the catch fence at Daytona. That was at like 2 in the morning. Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me why we couldn't. People did not have to go to work the next day. Like, this wasn't your typical Sunday.
Yeah, there's the reason that this Sunday night was run on Memorial Day weekend. It's set to be after the Indy 500, and it can go late. Like, I don't understand. The fans were in it for the long haul. We were there. We were ready, and it was surprising the amount of people that were just absolutely shocked to hear that they called the race after trying for an hour to dry the track, and it looked like it was drying. It was nuts, and we were all just shocked and sad and upset, and for what? I mean, the thing that I don't think is being talked about enough, they talk all weekend about how temperature sensitive this racetrack is. All those cars that were really fast before the storm were, who knows how they were going to respond? Who knows who was going to come from the middle of the field? Maybe their car was set up for a racetrack that was now at least 20 degrees cooler. I mean, this track was steaming during the storm. And then we miss out on the other storyline of Justin Allgaier keeping this car in the race and then seeing what Kyle Larson could do about it. Mm-hmm. And poor Kyle Larson, so dejected, he posted on social media afterwards. Just like NASCAR absolutely shot themselves in the foot. They would have had a great story. We would have had great racing. I mean, even with the rain coming, these teams didn't. Usually when you have a rain race, you see the energy kind of ramp up. You're like, oh man, these guys are going to drive harder because the rain's coming. The race could end at any moment. Nobody thought this race was going to end. They still thought they were going to go 600 miles. Like, the racing was good, but I didn't see the racing ramp up like we've seen at 600 in the past. because all these people expected they'd have to go again. And so, like, again, those three things. I didn't feel like I got to see a full race. The race was going to change at the end. And then again, the Kyle Larson story of the whole day following him, be like, oh, how do you do in Indy? Is he going to make it? Is he going to come and do any of this race? And it was just all down the drain. They just said, like, nope, we're tired. We want to go home. Fox is tired. But
yeah,
and that on that note too, I don't think NASCAR, I understand the TV partners have a lot to say. The TV partners spend a lot of money on this, but I think it's a really bad look for NASCAR to bend over for the TV partner like that. It's still NASCAR's product and they need to know what to put on. And Fox should suck it up. They've been doing this for 20 years. They should know how this works.
I just gotta say, that's a new one that NASCAR came up with. It's too humid to dry the track. I have never heard that one before. So yeah, kudos NASCAR for coming up with the more bullshit. But yeah, everyone's saying that this was probably Fox's idea to call this race. Joe Gibbs was told 15 minutes till drivers to their cars. That's what NASCAR said. But no, Fox.
And again,
Fox
it didn't. It
want to
just
do
came out
this
of nowhere.
anymore.
It
Yeah,
came
it
out of
really
nowhere. It
did.
was, I guess the way to describe all this, if I had two words, is surprising and disappointing, and incredibly disappointing if I had three words.
Yeah,
Terrible.
I got to agree with you, man.
Ugh.
I feel for you. That would have been terrible to be at the track. I mean, we were at my place watching it, and we were all dejected. We were all disappointed. We were ready to stay up.
Yeah,
For
nobody
2
had
more
anywhere to be
hours.
on Monday.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
me personally, I was planning to go to the NASCAR Hall of Fame, which we still did. Where is it? It's here. We still went to the NASCAR Hall of Fame on Monday, but it didn't open at 10. If I was leaving that track at 3:30 a.m., I still would have been at the NASCAR Hall of Fame at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, there was so much time, and there was nothing to do, and I don't have words to it, and it just, again, it sucks. We traveled all that way. And a lot of people probably traveled a long way. We had people sitting next to us at the Xfinity race from Minnesota. Like, people traveled to come see this, and they want to see the full race. And it's just, it's unfortunate. It really is.
Yep. On this night, nobody had anywhere to be. It just the reasoning behind it just doesn't make any sense. And man, I really do feel for Kyle Larson, man. Like, his Instagram post that he put out, he didn't even enjoy, or that the news they came out with that article where they interviewed him, and he just like, I didn't enjoy a single moment of any of that because he was just worried the entire day about getting to Charlotte. And then just to get there, you ran your Indy 500, and then you got Charlotte, and you don't even get to strap into the car. When 20 minutes after they call it, they could have been on the track racing.
Well, also, you put those cars on the track and do 10 pace laps at maybe not even pace speed, but maybe like 90 miles an hour, and just tell the drivers to spread out. Like, you'll pull that moisture out of that track real quick by heating it up a little bit with the tires. Like, I don't get it. And again, the idea that Fox just wanted to give up on it makes the most sense to me. And that's so upsetting. Is Fox retaliating for losing the Coke 600? Like, it's just bad. It's just bad. And it really is a sour note. I've said before on this podcast that there's nothing better than going to the racetrack. But when you go to the racetrack, and really with 2 times within a calendar year, you get half the racing you expect to see, it's really tough to want to go back again. It really is.
Yeah, that would kill it. All right, guys. Well, that will about wrap it up for our Charlotte review. Very disappointing end to the Coca-Cola 600 weekend. You guys got anything else to add before we wrap it up?
I guess one thing for me is last week for the All-Star race, the whole story was nobody gives a fuck about Joey Logano winning that race. It was all about the fight. I'm sorry, Christopher Bell. Nobody gives a flying fuck that you won this race. It's about Kyle Larson, the disappointment with Kyle Larson, and just the disappointment of ending this thing when it didn't need to be ended. Sorry, Christopher.
Again, like, this race is doing 24%, maybe less, on Jeff Gluck's good race poll. And again, it's because we had all this buildup and we didn't really see any conclusion of the race. They're just like, no, we're not going to do it anymore. So yeah, like, Christopher Bell, gem of a guy. I love Christopher Bell. He's great. I lived in Oklahoma for a long time, and nobody knows who Christopher Bell is down there, which blows my mind because he's from there. I'm happy to see Christopher Bell win, but not like this. And like, yeah, Christopher Bell, he'll take it, which is what he said in Victory Lane. So congrats to the winner. Cool that he gets a crown jewel on his hat, but put an asterisk next to it because it was just almost more than half of a crown jewel. Like,
yeah,
it's cool. I mean, again, if we can look through the finishing order, I guess again the big thing is that Kyle Larson loses the points lead. You got Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, and then Kyle Larson. Chase Elliott's in fourth. You have all these Hendrick drivers up here. I mean, Bowman's still in eighth in points, so maybe our shitting on Bowman earlier in the show is not as good. He's the Elite Eight right now. So the points the points got shook up a little bit. I think it's silly that they award stage 3 points to the finishing order, and then whatever. There's so many things silly with the decision making here. You should go the extra mile for your crown jewel, your biggest race of the year, your longest race of the year. And we're done with that. Congrats to the winner. Brad Keselowski was looking really fast. Good to him. He was really the only Ford that showed up. Josh Berry got a top 10, and then Joey Logano in 14th. So again, we kind of saw it was the Hendrick cars versus the Gibbs cars again. And shout out to Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier, Illinois boy, killed it, did his best. He learned quickly and recovered from that stage 1. And solid day for Justin Allgaier. Hope he gets more opportunities like that if he wants it.
Absolutely.
I'll shut
Said
up
it best. That will do it for us guys for the Stock Car Spectacle. Make sure to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and you can check out all of our links down below. So for Stock Car Spectacle, I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Nick Kinsel.
I'm Tom Hobley.
We'll see you guys next time. Everybody, welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Tom Hobley.
And guys, we got a packed weekend full of NASCAR racing with 2 different tracks. Trucks and Cup will be heading down to Gateway near St. Louis, and the Xfinity Series will be going to Portland on the road course.
Live pit stops!
Finally.
Get rid of those non-competitive pit stops. Get them out of here.
Live pit stops, and we were talking about this before, but I think we're gonna see why we had non-competitive pit stops, because we're gonna start seeing Morgan Shepherd freaking pit his own car out here.
Listen, it's a highly competitive series. You don't see, like, I don't know, minor league baseball changing their rules drastically because they don't have their major league guys on the team. I don't know. It's a bad metaphor, but live pit stops.
Yep, gotta love it. Gotta love it. But guys, we're starting off the weekend at Gateway with the Truck Series. We got the Toyota 200 miles, 160 laps. Stages 1 and 2 will be 55 laps each, and the final will be 50. Last year's winner was Grant Enfinger. Huge win for him. Most manufacturer wins. Chevrolet has a whopping 12 wins here. Truck Series, they have run here for a long time. So, guys, for trucks on Saturday afternoon, who we got to win? Nick, we'll start off with you, buddy.
So for the Truck Series, it's going with the trend I had last year. I just like to put the guy that goes fast, and right now the guy that's going fast in the Truck Series is that 11 trucker Corey Heim. He's just that guy. He show up to any racetrack and he's going to be fast. Yeah, I think I picked Zane Smith, probably a good 40. good maybe at 50% of the races last year. I'd like to pick the guys that go fast. Corey Heim, he's just the guy, and I think he's gonna be driving a little pissed off too after that disqualification last week in Charlotte where he ran second at. So yeah, give me the 11 to just keep the good times rolling.
I like it. Mr. Tom, who you got?
Everybody's talking about Corey Heim this, Corey Heim that. Well, guess what? Corey Heim is P2 in points. So who's going to win at this flat track down in St. Louis, Illinois? It's going to be Christian Eckes in the 19. McAnally Hilgeman is going to show up. Tyler Ankrum has fallen off a little bit, but you don't lead the points without being consistent. And I feel like this is a Napa racing kind of day.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, kid is good, but guys, I know someone who's better on these flat short tracks, and that's a guy named Tyrone Majeski.
Yeah.
This is what he grew up doing on these short tracks. I see it, Nick. I know I'm number one right now. This guy, we know he competes in the Snowball Derby almost every year. Really damn good in that race, and he's just really good on these short tracks when the Truck Series comes here. So without a doubt, I gotta go with Mr. Ty Majeski.
Honestly, I think we picked the best three trucks.
Yep.
And there's really
neither of them are gonna win.
Well, yeah.
Nope.
None of them will win because we get it wrong more than we get it right. But I don't even have too many people that I'd really want to point out on this one. I mean, obviously we'll look at the Spire trucks, but
I could say Enfinger again.
Enfinger might be able to get it.
He might be there.
I thought about picking Grant. I thought Ian was going to pick Grant, to be honest. But no, Majeski's a good pick as well. It's just that
there's a hard racetrack.
I don't trust ThorSport right now, and Ford still as a whole is not doing what they do. So
yeah, hasn't really showed up.
But there's no time like the present too. So
yeah,
and that's exactly why Matt Crafton's going to somehow pull this one out of his ass and go to victory lane.
Oh, the old man can still do it. But guys, let's go halfway across the country to Portland for the Xfinity Series race. We got the Pacific Office 147 miles, 75 laps. All three stages will be 25 laps. Last year's winner was Mr. Cole Custer, getting his first win of the season. Allmendinger won here in 2022. Only had 2 races here so far for the Xfinity Series. Some notables in this one: Ryan Truex will be in that 20 for Joe Gibbs Racing. Frankie Muniz is coming back for that 35 for Joey Gase Motorsports. And Sage Karam will be in the 26 for Sam Hunt Racing. So, Tom, we'll start off with you, buddy. Who do you got going to victory lane in Portland for NASCAR's 3rd time out in Oregon?
I really think that this driver has learned a lot, and I think these B-team pit stops will play a major role in this all the way. Look, you're giving me a thumbs up. I don't even know how that works.
But I don't know.
But you like this pick because it's going to be the 3-wheeling monster in that big machine car of the 48. Parker Kligerman will get it done.
All right. Yeah, Parker, we know he is great on these road courses. He won Mid-Ohio a few years ago in the Truck Series with that 75 team. So, yeah, great pick, dude.
And driving pissed off because he was mad at himself from last week. He self-spun, hit the wall just barely, but the way it hit, that car was not drivable anymore. So he's going to be wanting to finish this race and do really well. And he knows it's an opportunity for his small team to get a big win.
I like it. All right, Mr. Nick, who you got for Portland?
I think this Saturday in Portland, it's going to be a battle of some college racing Chevrolets. AJ Allmendinger is going to be fast, but there's another man that's going to get this job done, and it's going to be a big fan favorite. Everyone's going to love to see it. Mr. Shane Van Gisbergen is going to go to victory lane. This is his bread and butter right here. These road courses, and it's so dangerous for college to have just 2 road course aces. First, you get AJ Allmendinger, one of the best to do it, and then you get Shane Van Gisbergen. Both of them on the same team. That's exciting right there. But man, it would just be really cool to see. Shane, he's been doing a very good job this season. He's learning a lot, and he's keeping his car in one piece every racetrack that we show up to. And now we're going to a track where I expect him to run well, and I think he's going to pull it off, and he's going to get that car into the playoffs.
He was going to win Coda until a late race caution, and then the ensuing bit, he drove off the track. But if that caution doesn't happen, he wins Coda by 16 seconds or something crazy. Maybe not that much. Excellent pick, especially at a track where all these guys really don't have a lot of experience. The playing field is very level, and Shane is going to excel when nobody has a lot of experience. And again, we saw that last year with Chicago and the Cup Series. So I love that pick. I wish I could pick it myself. I wish we could go back in time and repick because Shane will drive the wheels off of Parker Kligerman.
Oh, yes, he will. Guy's just talented, but my pick, I got to go with a guy who's super talented on these road courses too. Got his first career win on a road course, I believe that was Watkins Glen. Mr. Sam Mayer, was that Watkins Glen for his first?
I thought
Road America.
It was Road America, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I couldn't remember if Xfinity still raced there last year or not, but yes, Road America was his first win. Guy is just good on these tracks, and
he's got to finish races though.
Yeah,
he's got to finish these races, man. It's
hungry.
been a theme of this year too, and Junior Motorsports hasn't been performing, but a lot of times they're not finishing.
Yeah.
So Sam Mayer's got to work on that, but
yeah,
still a good pick. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just he's sitting 11 in points, and he should be at least 5 spots higher.
Well, he's sitting 11th in points, and where would he be if he didn't win Texas? That would be a great question.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so
and it was that much Texas too, if you remember that. So
yeah. Very, very close. Tough. But guys, let's move over to the Cup race for the Enjoy Illinois 300-mile race, 240 laps. Stage 1 is 45, stage 2 is 95, and the final stage will be 100 laps. Last year's winner was Mr. Kyle Busch, me having to see him win 3 times in a row for races that I was at.
It's okay. Yeah. I have the Chase Elliott curse.
Yeah, it moved on.
One was Xfinity, so that's
we won't count it. So Kyle Busch won here last year. Joey Logano won the inaugural race in 2022. So guys, that just means one thing. That means Toyota is going to victory lane this season. We had a Chevy last year and a Ford 2 years ago. Going to be a Toyota, and it's going to be a guy who had a fun time for the inaugural race, Mr. Denny Hamlin, when him and Ross Chastain got in. That was the start of the beef with him in the one car, but Denny finished second here last year to his former teammate Kyle Busch. So one more better for Denny Hamlin. He's good at almost every single track that we go to, so why not write off one more track on his list and get that win?
Yeah, Denny's almost a top 5 lock at every track of late and whatnot. I mean, he struggled a little bit. What was it? Was it Darlington where he just led a lap on a pit cycle? But
yeah,
did Denny lead the Coke 600?
Nope, streak is over.
It's over.
Oh man, yeah.
I'm putting an asterisk. I'm putting an asterisk next to it because we only saw 3.
Yeah, we only saw half of it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, sorry, we're getting back to last episode again. No, yeah, Denny's a lock for top 5 at all these races.
Mm-hmm.
And he's your points leader. Good. He's your points leader, and he deserves it right now. He's lights out. His pit crew is executing, and he's driving the wheels off that thing. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
fun
absolutely.
To watch. Mm-hmm. Fun to watch. Makes me some money too, so even better.
All right, Nick, who you got going to victory lane down in St. Louis?
I'm going with the guy who's just feeling pissed off, mad as hell, and really just feeling disappointed. He did not his magical day last week didn't get to happen because of weather, and he didn't even get to strap in for the Coke 600. I'm going with the 5-car Kyle Larson to get a little redemption story going here. As much as it would pain me to see Kyle Larson win another race, man, I just think he's going to drive pissed off, and I feel like he's just gonna go. This might just be one of those snooze fest days with the 5-car, and we're just all gonna have to sit there and watch it. So yeah, give me Larson. As much as it pains me to say.
Can I confess something to you two in confidence?
Yes.
Kyle Larson is growing on me.
No,
yeah.
He is. He just loves to race. He just loves to race. He's growing on me, and I like his personality. He grew on me at that tweet about missing out. He just feels so bad. He seems to be a selfless guy. He admits when he messes up. He's just growing on me. I'm not saying I'm going to be a fan. Not saying I'm going to be clad in 5 merch. I did win a Hendrick Motorsports license plate frame at the Hendrick Motorsports Fan Day, and I plan to buy 2 license plates frame for my new car. So I only bought one, and the Hendrick Motorsports frame is on my front bumper in case I have to park and crack it. So I will say he's growing. I'm obviously not going to just sell out for Kyle Larson, but like he just genuinely loves to race, and he likes it. He likes it, and he's just out there having fun. Not offensive anymore. Yeah, so I think that's a good pick. Again,
Yeah.
Hendrick and Gibbs, great picks. Any race we go to,
Yeah,
they are
definitely.
powerhouses right now for a reason.
Yeah, definitely. So Tom, who you got going to victory lane?
I'm not gonna pick a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised even this came to my mind, but in light of the news from this week, and honestly, this guy's been running silently solid, we'll call it. But this has kind of reminded me of a Phoenix type of track from a couple of years ago where one number 14 car showed up, but we're going to take a 1 off of that. And I think Josh Berry will get his Cup Series win at Gateway. I think these guys are racing for something more than Stewart Haas Racing now. They need to show that they belong, and they've been getting good results and solid results in building up. And I think the 4 car has looked very strong. The 10 car has looked very strong too. But I don't know, something's just telling me Josh Berry this week. Last year we saw maybe a surprise winner, if you will. RCR wasn't that strong and whatnot yet. He came out, Kyle Busch came out and won this race. Why not? Fords have been stronger. I know SHR is not getting the support they used to, but with the news of them closing, it'd be a great storyline for them to have a good week.
Yeah, it would be huge.
This
track is his bread and butter right here.
Yeah.
He loves short track racing.
Yeah.
That's why I'd also say I'd go sleeper pick Chase Briscoe. This is a track I think he can run well at too, with the shifting and everything. Little technique track like Phoenix almost, where Chase Briscoe's won before. So I would put both of those guys up there as sleepers.
These guys are auditioning now. They don't have guaranteed rides. Even if they have contracts, they don't have guaranteed rides. And they want to be here. They want to show that they belong here. And what better way to go out and win a race? You're guaranteed to get some phone calls on Monday if you win on Sunday.
Yeah. Would be huge for any of those Stewart Haas Racing drivers to win this year. But guys, that will about wrap it up for us at the Stock Car Spectacle. Make sure to tune in for this race for Gateway. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be down there with a few buddies. So if anybody recognizes me, come over and say hi. It will be fun to chat with some NASCAR fans. Yeah, make sure to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and make sure to check out all of our links down below. So for the Stock Car Spectacle, I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Nick Kinsel.
I'm Tom Hoblin.
And we'll see you guys next time. Enjoy Gateway.